Hey, welcome to Real Talk, episode 164. I'm Todd, this is AJ, and we're back.
164 episodes in, we're gonna buy some din. I don't know, man.
Got nothing else to say. That was it.
No,
we're going to
man.
get some din. So,
I'm hungry.
yeah, me too. So, welcome to Real Talk. What is it?
Hey.
You know, opportunity to talk about life, God, the Bible, and everything in between, and what's going on in this world from a Christian viewpoint. Somewhere in the description of this video, you will see a link, video or podcast, my apologies, www.theremnant.life/real-talk, that's REAL-talk. Click it, go down to submit a question, follow the prompts, tippity-tap your question, comment, copy or paste your link in there, whatever it is, hit submit, and it goes into our database instantaneously and anonymously. Couldn't find you if we tried.
Boom, there it is. That is
So,
the spiel, baby.
If you ever had questions you wanted to ask your pastor or ask someone in your church or just ask a Christian that you just felt uncomfortable or you didn't have a resource to do so, here's your chance to do that. We don't promise to always have every answer, but if we don't, we'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to...
Other than that, that's the gist of it. We kind of catch up on our lives, too. We're just three young guys living the dream, loving Jesus, fighting for truth, justice, the American way.
Nice. I don't know. I had nothing. I was gonna say
Supreme way.
I was gonna say Supreme something, but I had nothing after Supreme.
That's
so
okay.
I'm glad you said something.
I will let everyone know, long-term viewers / listeners, that I, unfortunately, after a week or two of sleeping, went right back to the land of no sleep. So we'll see how it goes, man. If I'm delusional, if I'm not making any sense, if you see these bags under my eyes, if you're watching the video,
You...
yeah, you see them bags under that man.
Don't pay attention to him.
Anyway. Man, I always think of like new viewers or listeners.
Oh, it's so
and
ridiculous.
We lost them immediately because
I don't know. I hope they at least
you
chuckle.
got so sincere and like slightly angry that I even suggested that we would lose them. You go, I don't know about that, Todd. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure we're not going to lose a single viewer.
The hope
Let's not be silly here, Todd. After going bum 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 din din din, you look at me like I'm the silly one for considering the possibility.
The hope is that they chuckle and they keep listening.
Yeah.
That's
How
the
dare
hope.
I? How dare I be so ridiculous as to suggest that someone would find that silly?
Oh my god!
Din din din.
What was that song we did?
Oh man. Anyway, that's it. 164 episodes, man, and that's just this show. We used to do a live show.
Yeah.
In which case, we've probably done well over, I don't know, I would say 300 shows for sure.
gotta
Maybe
be
400.
It's got to be somewhere in that area,
Yeah.
dude. It's been...
Technically, we're in season 2, though we've never went to season 3.
Yeah, man. I don't know when this cuts off.
Me either. Maybe 100, maybe 200. Yeah, I think we go to season 3 at 200.
Makes sense.
Thank you, Fun Turn, for the quick reminder of that. We also have some articles that we go over, kind of catch you up on today's news from a Christian perspective.
Brought to you by us.
You didn't sleep either, did you? No, I'm just kidding. So, AJ, before we get started, you know what we like to do. We like to talk about what's been going downtown in your life. So, hey, man, what's the sitch in the life of AJ Noel?
The sitch for
It's
me.
not his real last name, so don't even try to find him. Anyway.
I think if you actually would enunciate it the right way, they would have less likely known my name because
They don't know until you just said that, because all I said was it wasn't your last name. Now you just told them.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, rat yourself out, man. That's on you. Anyway, you lose your identity. That's on you. Anyway, anything to catch up on? If there isn't, we move on. It's fun.
I'd say the biggest thing is just
Yeah.
trying to just, I don't know, man, just live like it's real. I know we say that a lot, but it's the truth, man. Like, every week, every day brings new challenges, and a lot of the time I either don't face them or I don't, I guess I don't. That's the same thing as not facing them, but I don't want to like look at that stuff. So a lot of the time I can feel like I'm in like a weird autopilot, and I think I've made steps small steps and trying to become better at not, just succumbing to this autopilot that can easily take me over. But I don't know, man, that's the big thing. And like, I've, today we had a pretty good conversation before we recorded where we were talking about life, and, you asked me like, hey, like, how can I help? And I think that in that moment, I realized like, hey, like if I'm having trouble with like the day to day in life. So if I can get the day to day down, I think the rest will come. Because my mind tends to just skip past the day to day, and that's probably why I get overwhelmed so often. Is because I'm thinking of this like crazy big picture, like, what am I gonna do with these things? And I'm like, and it overwhelms me. So, yeah, man, I would say it's probably the newest update. Just trying to get the day to day down, because that definitely comes in seasons. I think there's been times in my life where I've had the day to day down, at least to an extent. And, I think I've kind of lost touch with that a little bit. So just trying to, recalibrate. I think that's the word you've used before. When it comes to life, it's just a lot of recalibrating. So like just trying to recalibrate, get back to the day to day, and then the rest will come. So I'd say that's probably the newest, man. That'd be the newest news for me, is let's get the day to day down.
I like that.
Yeah,
day to day down. Fun turn, anything to say?
No, not really. I'm just kind of in the same place of just slowly breaking down and creating an actual schedule for my life, slowly but surely. I bought a planner the other day. I'm starting to feel old, or like I'm going back to high school. I can't actually decide which.
Or responsible. One of the three.
Yeah, that too.
One of the old people use planners.
Oh, the responsible people are old.
It's true.
But yeah, I've
it's not true, but
broken down and got one of those. So now it's just forcing myself to look at it after I wake up.
I get it.
Which
Takes
it
a
is
new
possible.
habit.
But yeah, it takes a little bit of time to open it up and go, okay, this is what you have to do in like the coming days and what you told yourself to do today. So let's make sure we do that. So it's getting used to that and then keeping it updated and things like that. I've been trying to keep more up with that. Bought a Bible too, so that's fun.
You did. That's a nice Bible.
It's really cool, man. I actually haven't seen your Bible yet. I think I've seen you
nice.
carrying it, but I actually haven't like looked at it.
It's nice.
But it looks really cool.
It's nice. I already said that.
I know Tyler will probably be mad at me because I bought a planner and haven't used it.
Tyler's mad at you for a lot of things right now.
I know, man. He was like, because he was with me when I bought it. He's like, you're going to spend money on this. You got to use it. And I was like, yeah, man.
The old Mad Max.
Oh, yeah, Mad Max. That's right. I forgot that's his name now.
He is really mad, man. But I understand.
Mad Max is mad. But I understand.
So,
but you, Toddy, how's life for you, man?
you know what? I can't get over this horrible haircut, man. Every day I look in the mirror, and it's almost like I was set up in multiple ways. Everything about it, everything, the very shape of my hair is changed. And I can't, there's nothing I can do except wait it out. If you are a hair stylist, barber, and you're listening to this show and you want an opportunity for some free advertising and you believe you can fix my hair for me,
There you go.
you got it right here, right now. You have exactly 1 week from when this show goes out to get a hold of me because I would love to give you some publicity
There you go.
for fixing my hair and not cutting my neck to pieces. Anyway,
We need you.
something more, but yeah, it really bothers me, man. My hair's all I had going for me. And
That's not true.
allergies are pretty bad right now, too.
Me too. I was about to say that earlier.
So I apologize for clearing my throat a lot, guys. Other than that, had a family member that had a health scare. It always kind of makes you feel weird.
Yeah.
So definitely, don't want to put his business out there, but pray for that person.
Absolutely, man.
And for wisdom for doctors, and it just all heals up. Other than that, I'm going to drop a truth bomb here, and
Okay.
I'm not even going to discuss it.
I'm
I
excited.
think a lot of people out there sabotage relationships and professional opportunities and even volunteer opportunities that they do because of their pride and insecurity. I found myself trying to help some people out because they ask, and it's almost hard to help people, man, because everyone reacts so much out of their insecurity, which in turn comes out as pride and sort of an arrogance, even though deep down the root of it is insecurity, that man, it's made me very aware of like making sure the moments that, I don't want to do that because it's just so prevalent with people, So just that thought of how many times we damage relationships or rob ourselves of opportunities to get help or grow because we're too stubbornly prideful, which probably comes from the root of insecurity. Like if I admit need, then I'm not good enough somehow. So I think a lot of, I've noticed that in some, not a lot, in some of my relationships lately and in general, professional, personal, etc. And I just want to make sure, I don't know. Sometimes it almost seems more prevalent in the Christian culture. I know that's not true. I know it's not because a lot of jerks out there.
Oh yeah.
But I hate that I say that. Anyway, so that is that. Something to ponder out there. Do you damage relationships, prevent yourself from getting help because of your pride? Do you get offended easily?
It's good, man.
When someone even asks? Do you get defensive really easily? All of those are symptoms of pride. Which in turn, what's the root of that? Something to think about.
It's good, man. I like that.
There you go. Oh, what else? Is there anything else? I want to say something else, but I shouldn't because the person, one or persons, could eventually see this and know I'm speaking to them, but a frustrating situation. Have you ever had someone subtly imply something of you that you specifically told them isn't the case? Or you wouldn't tell them if it was because they're not close to you. And they consistently drop little passive-aggressive comments and subtle little things to try to trick you into admitting something that isn't even...
It's manipulative.
Yeah, I suppose it could be. So I've dealt with that a little bit as of late as well.
Someone
who continues to... I don't know why they're obsessed with this.
I feel like
You do know this.
Okay. I was gonna say I feel like I know.
I can't tell you. I can't. It's so specific that man. Take a thought of a person.
Oh, sorry, that was my elbow. But, dude,
I'm not the only one, right? If you didn't hear that, what he was talking about is as I'm speaking to him about my heart, it makes sense because I saw the look of pain and struggle as you popped your elbow.
I did that lock thing.
You remember what we just talked about with your hip, man? Remember what happened?
Oh, yeah.
You need to quit popping all this stuff. This guy paralyzed himself.
It's true. Dude,
anyway.
That was really bad.
Yeah.
But, I'm sorry.
How's that feeling, by the way?
Oh, it's fine.
Okay. Anyway,
sorry.
You know who it is now. You know
I do.
about? Yeah,
I know.
So I'm still bothered by that very much, and I have to fight off my desire to be like, growl. A little bit. Especially when it has to do with someone that I love very, very dearly.
Yeah, dude.
Because you know me with this person, I will. I will get you.
Oh yeah, and like, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't even know why people like do it.
Care?
Like
why they even care? Like, even if it were true.
It's
I hate to be mysterious, guys. It's actually not because I'm afraid. I don't want to put this person on blast.
Yeah, it's more of a protection thing.
But it's also real talk, and I randomly can't help but just blurt the things that I'm dealing with.
Sure.
I'm not even struggling with it. It's more of and you know me. The more passive, aggressive someone is with me, the more dumb I play. That's just who I am.
Yes.
Because I just want them to say it. I've literally been like, I've admitted this. Someone's like, why would you do that when you know what the person wants? I'm like, because. Why won't they just directly ask me?
It's true, man.
Or directly, I just don't. It just seems weaselly.
It's not playing the game.
Yeah.
So
there's that. I did. Man, it's hard. I don't know.
I think what can be taken from it is just ask your questions or just say how you're feeling,
and then accept the answer.
Yes, like don't. I don't know,
and don't expect me to be friends with you.
I had a thought about this, just in general.
Yeah,
like how people are lately.
Yeah,
like everywhere.
Yeah, anywhere you look. Sure.
Is that? I'm gonna call us out, especially our church.
He's coming.
Is that
Not who
I think we get busy playing investigator, and we don't want to take people's stuff at value, and it really creates a lot of bitterness among a lot of us. Like I think that happens a lot.
Yeah, because you kind of get paranoid that you're playing that. You're like playing the game all the time.
Sure.
Yeah.
And like
Actually,
people,
the one I was talking about wasn't. I can't be.
yeah.
But yes.
But like I don't know.
But you're
I just,
saying you see
you
that
know,
in the church.
Anybody who does go here, like
Goes to the church to sponsor this show.
yeah, like listen, and at the end of the day, like I think that's why we've went through, because we talked about this, the past month or so, is like, how we, our church has been in a kind of an odd season.
Yeah, it really has.
And like
really has.
I think that might be part of it, is like, we're not trusting each other's hearts. And instead we're playing this weird game where we're trying to guess, like when somebody says something, we want to question whether or not this is coming from the heart or it's genuine. It's like, why don't you just take it for what it is and then actually try to love them? Because in the in the action of loving them, you're gonna eventually find out if it's real or not. Like instead of just trying to figure it out all in that one instance, because then it just makes and if I'm honest, I feel like it creates a culture where no one wants to talk. And that's why, if anything, why we've been in such a weird season as a church, because, you stop talking because before you know it, everyone's going to kind of jump on you and playing this weird, private investigator game where like, I think there's more to it. And it's like, you know what, maybe there is, but like, man, why don't you just love them for where they're at right there? And then the more you love them, the more you grow with them. That is either going to be proven true that they were being genuine, or it's not. Like, I don't know, man. So that's just a thought that came to my mind because you reminded me. Because I had this thought. I don't remember why I had this thought the other day, but you just reminded me from that situation. Like, it's when you said, like, accept what people tell you. Like, because I don't think we've been doing that.
For me, I almost think it goes a step further. We've just allowed the freaking raving cats to... Also, by the way, because I know everybody's going to take that as like a gender thing. No, it's just the raving mad cats because I don't like cats.
I took it as just loud animals. Loud meowing cats. But anyway, but I get why you would think that.
I'm just going to preface. I just don't like cats.
Said. People would immediately read into that and would not. They're not going to believe you now.
It's exhausting. It's really exhausting.
It is.
It is exhausting.
We've allowed the raving cats to rule this place.
Well, that's the name of the episode.
I was about to say that.
Oh.
Anyway, go on.
And they're not even good cats. They're just like dumpster cats. They're like, oh.
Okay.
No,
I got the sound.
People dumpster cats.
No, they're good. Well, they're good
that
was a good one.
It's that sound.
Yeah.
In the alleyways.
We've allowed them.
Yeah, that was it. Sorry, go on.
That sound. We've allowed them to just
Somebody just blew out their eardrums in their head.
go crazy and just talk and treat people terribly, or they're the ones speaking while everybody isn't. I shared a quote from Jordan Peterson. I really like this guy.
I did too, man. I like that you shared that, by the way. I need to...
Yeah, I'll say it here because I think it's good. He says, when you have something to say, silence is a lie. We tend to ignore the power of words because we use them all the time for both meaningful and meaningless things. For example, if you keep silent when something bad happens in front of your eyes, then wrongness becomes part of yourself. Being alive involves being brave. So do speak your mind, but also mind your words because they are more powerful than we are taught to believe.
Dude, that is really good. You should post that in the
members
group that's having a lot of issues right now.
Oh, actually, yeah, I should.
It's almost exactly the situation.
It's really good.
Actually,
Anyway.
I posted it in like our staff thread. Yeah,
which is
and it
cool.
was like, I think that is such a big deal. I actually had a moment last night where I was at work. I went in the bathroom and everything's going on. And there's stuff that I've done wrong recently and there's stuff that other people have done wrong. Everything. I finally sat down and last night I read all this stuff. And then, of course, I also have been not the greatest intern that I could be. But I had that happen, and I ended up reading that. And then I had this moment where I went in the bathroom, and I was just like, dude, I don't know how much more I have left. I don't know what's left in the bottom of this well, Lord, and I don't know how long I can keep doing this because this is exhausting. I don't know what to do. And, like, strangely, like, I know, like, the thing of just walk. Just trust. But, like, at the end of the day, like, that is right there, what Jordan Peterson just said is what we should do in Christianity. It's what he means, what Jesus says by go to your brother That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, man.
And at the end of the day, we don't talk to each other because we're all so afraid of what we're going to say or how we're going to offend somebody or how we're going to hurt somebody. Actually, I had a few weeks ago, I sent a chat to the Remnant House guys, and I said, I don't know when I started caring about everybody's opinion because there was a short time in my life where I just didn't care. I mean, I wanted people to still like me, but at the end of the day, I just made people angry, and I had to accept that because that time in my life, literally, there was very few people that liked me well, and it was when I was in high school, and it felt like everybody hated me, but that may have not been true. But I didn't make people happy, and I also didn't fully care what XYZ said about me or cared about me because at the end of the day, like, you had
Part
to
of the
see.
issue is you love these people, though.
Exactly.
So it does bother
That's
you
the
more.
It
difference.
does bother me more.
And
like,
and that's church too. Like,
That's a good. I mean, just to encourage you, it may not be so much that you become soft or anything. It's just you care more about those people. Now,
yeah,
that leaves you in a bit of a conundrum, right?
does.
Because you also can't get
like
to the
that
point
word.
that even those people, it's dictating the way you live your life, right? Or like the way
Exactly.
you function.
Dude, I've had actually. I'll be real about this. I struggle with the fact that when we speak to people in this church, they get so angry, including myself, and I struggle with this in myself as well. But
Yeah.
by the way,
Including
because
myself.
I know people already think that, and guess what? I have a temper on me. Yeah, I'm not the. I'm not. I ain't no saint. But
Actually, you are.
yeah, exactly.
saved.
Anyways,
Jesus. Anyway,
But people get so angry and they take it to this weird level instead of trusting that we love them, and like.
I gotta pause this for a second. You understand that is now twice. You have made a ridiculously loud sound.
Sorry, guys.
I'm telling you, bro. If I didn't know you, you are a villain from a movie. You are a super villain, or an evil genius villain. You know, Doctor Doom just subtly doing
Doom.
little like things. Right? He's like, I'm not gonna blatantly be evil, but I'm gonna sabotage in little ways that no one
really
will know.
sorry.
That'd be the best comic villain. He doesn't take over the world. He just stabs
irritates
people,
everybody.
irritates in little ways,
subtly irritates the entire
intentionally. Anyway, I'm just move on. It's a joke, but that was incredible. But hey, I always go like,
Sorry,
make
Clint.
weird sounds. So
Um,
click on my phone and have an angry face. So
what
we
did I
all do
last
stuff.
say? What did I last say?
Sorry, man.
Sorry.
Oh, they just,
I got distracted by the sound of a nuclear bomb over here.
What was it? What was the last thing I said? Does anybody know?
I was listening, man, but then my life got turned upside down.
Oh, we don't trust that people actually love us. There we
Yeah.
go. There we go. I have some of the thought left. We don't trust that people actually love them, and I struggle with people who get so angry, and then there's this thing that we call psycho eyes, and I don't like it. And it's not just the two people who I've talked to about this and actually shared my hurt about it. It's not you. It's you two aren't the ones that I actually think about this. I think there are more
think, like,
people
everyone
here
has it in a way.
that has these weird eyes that are dead but like psychotic because you're trying to be happy and like I love you but I want to kill you. Like that weird look in your eye like you hate them, and I struggle with that because I don't understand how you could be so close to me or so close to somebody I love and yet you immediately look at them with those eyes and so much hate. I don't understand that because you don't actually.
So what you said, if you do it, what makes you do it? That'll help you understand it.
Yeah, that's a good question.
For me, I think in those moments it's brief flashes of fire of anger, and then
Yeah, but why?
little.
I mean, I know that
insecurity things.
exactly. That's what I think, man.
So
I think
that's
it
what's
comes
happening
back
to them too.
Yeah, I'm not defending it because it is ridiculous, you know.
Oh yeah.
And I think that the thing is, a lot of times those people won't admit it either.
Oh yeah.
So then you can just move on. Hey, did I make you mad? No. I'm like, clearly you're mad. I've been impatient with that lately. And I'm not.
yeah.
It's sometimes I literally am to. Oh, goodness gracious.
and you don't feel like you can say anything after a while because they're just not going to go and deal with it anyways. So it's like you're stuck in this weird limbo, and you're like, okay, well, this is ridiculous at this point. So I have two options: either I make everybody angry around me, okay, and then they all dislike me for about 2 months, and I become this villain, no matter what happens, because you have to eventually, you specifically normally have to do this, where you have to speak truth, or you just let it go, and everything gets destroyed because people don't want to do what the Bible actually says. And I think it is all just insecurities at the end of the day, and it's sad. It's really sad because none of us are, like, we used to actually talk to one another, and I don't know what the heck happened.
growing.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're not
Pressure.
gonna that happens. That's a good point. Is that when you grow, those again, I always think back to the studies they've done where you can only have so many close friends. Like
You said this
the
for a long time.
capacity. Yeah, look it up. I don't remember what it is,
Mhm.
but as you get bigger, it's tough. And now, does that mean that you can't be loving to people that you're not as close with? No, I think you can. Clearly, the Bible tells us that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, man, the only thing we can do, and I keep coming back to this, and I'm not making light of it, is we have to control ourselves and try to,
It's good.
everybody talks about, everybody wants to, we use the term around here, set culture. But it's, when it comes to actually doing it, I think it gets a lot harder because setting culture, a lot of times we think that means calling out everyone else's attempts to change the culture, when really it's more about, are you willing to stand your ground and willing to be an example of it?
It's good, man.
And whatever that capacity is. And that's, if you're listening, that applies to business, it applies to anything. If you want
really
a business, so I worked for a company, financial institution, and I left that company primarily because of the culture. And it's successful. I just couldn't be there. And I
Yeah,
remember
man.
going to HR on the way out. They do an exit interview. And I told them, hey, I was told that I need to keep it was like a culture, and they kept pushing. And I was like, well, I don't even want to say this, but I was told when I first took this job, hey, have a file in which you keep all your emails to protect yourself. And when I told this lady, she goes, I don't believe that. This is not the culture. I'm like, I'm telling you right now, that's what I was told, and I found that to be true. Because sometimes people don't even want to look at it. And again, I don't think our church is like this horrible culture, but
No.
I think it's a microcosm of life, right? If you're not
Absolutely.
intentional. And I will say this, guys, we haven't talked about this, and we don't really have time today. Maybe we need to look this up. But I've definitely seen the articles. Higher rates of depression, highest rates of anxiety since like World War II, since this pandemic. I often wonder how much it has mentally affected people that they don't even realize it.
That's true, man.
I'm serious.
That's
You think
something-
about 2 years ago, even, right? Was it 2 years ago now? A little over 2 years
2020.
ago.
Getting
You
closer
think
to
you
3,
think
isn't it?
about 2 years ago, before 2 years ago, what did we have the same exact issues? Let me ask you this. This is where it gets deep. Were you different 2 years ago?
Probably was, I'd imagine.
I mean,
I definitely.
I'm just saying something to think about. Like,
Yeah.
are you more anxious now? Have you found there's traits in yourself that you're like, when I think back, I was like, yeah, that is different in me. I didn't used to be this way. That kind of thing. So I don't know. That kind of stuff, man, long term bombarded with negativity and fear tactics and all that kind of stuff, that's got to affect you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely
So-
does.
I saw a picture the other day of a girl. It's an old picture. You could probably Google it. Who was in a home for, what was it? It was in 1948. I remember the year. And this little girl, probably 10 years old. And they asked her to draw a picture of home. Well, she is a Jewish girl that had spent 2 years in a concentration camp. And her drawing was a big, crazy, jagged, just circle. And she's looking at the camera, and her eyes just looked dead. And it's like, that was home. That somehow, like, think about that. From just being in that kind of stressful environment for 2 years.
Chaos.
And of course, that's far worse than what we're describing for ourselves right now. But I think those types of things probably have more of an effect than we think. And you thinking worldwide, than we tend to accept, maybe. But anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Great stuff, guys. Appreciate your talks.
Yeah. It's really good.
You ready for some questions? We got some good ones.
Well, let's do it.
I'll start with number one. You ready? Fun turn? You ready, AJ?
I'm ready.
Now, this one I can't decide if this is someone within our body who's having a good time. And did I think for a minute someone from a church league basketball watched this and got bitter from years, mainly from the hashtags that are almost like mocking us. You know what I mean? It's almost like someone. Anyway, here it is, AJ. Remnant basketball is comparable to early '90s Detroit bad boys defense. Hashtag MJ is the GOAT. Hashtag crybaby Lame James. Hashtag can't stop Shaq. Hashtag Mamba mentality. Hashtag no blood, no foul. Make you feel a little like you kind of wonder. Is it one? It's either, because I even thought in my mind, it's one of two people that we know well that listen to the show, or it's someone outside who just happened to catch the. It's like, you guys are a bunch of thugs. 'Cause we definitely got that.
It's a good question, man. I don't know who. I think I have the people you're talking about who could be
Sure.
like having poking fun who go here. I think I would know who they are, but I don't know. It's hard to tell where this came from. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I almost find it as a slight compliment, they think we're the '90s bad boys, the Pistons.
Yeah.
I love it. The reason why, I don't know, all these hashtags, like you said, MJ's the GOAT, crybaby, lame James. So last week someone asked a question about LeBron James.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would imagine this could be the same person who asked that question, maybe. But thank you. Thank you. Because hey, I'll take 90s Detroit bad boy Pistons any day. I was the Pistons in like 5th grade in basketball. Random fact. So
Dude, I just realized that each of the hashtags, there's 5 positions in basketball. And there's 5 hashtags.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Huh. For a second, I almost even thought they were gonna do different positions from each tag, but they were not.
Do you think they're referring to specific people?
That's what I wondered.
Who's
that's what
Cranberry Lame James?
It's probably like me.
No.
Can't stop Shaq. I don't know.
So we don't
mentality.
really have a Can't Stop Shaq.
No,
really.
we really. No.
Yeah, no one.
Because oddly, even though I'm very big, I did not play center for when we played other teams.
Yeah.
No. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's someone poking fun on the inside.
Anyway, if so, you got us. Because it is fun. All right, you're up.
Cool. Next question. Gonna go a little more on the serious side.
Yeah, it's a big shift.
Can someone remarry after divorce?
So we get this question a lot, and it's a good question. I appreciate you asking. So the Bible gives a couple things to start out with, and I need to say it, is God hates divorce. It's mentioned in Malachi. We know that God hates divorce. We know that marriage is meant to be till death do us part. That's what it is, because it's a picture of Christ in the church. There's a lot of deep things I'll touch base on here in a second, or in a little bit. But in general, there is typically. So in general, the ideal is not to be divorced and remarry at all, to not divorce, right? Which leads to that. Now, it does not say, and I read this once a long time ago, and it's interesting, is that it says God hates divorce. It does not say God hates remarriage. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean anything, because you'd have to be divorced to be remarried, but it's kind of just an interesting thought.
Yeah.
So the Bible talks about, there's sort of an exception clause. It's in Matthew, where Jesus said, if anyone divorces his wife and remarries, or divorces their spouse and remarries, except in the case of adultery or sexual immorality, depending on how they translate it, he is committing adultery. That's pretty powerful. So the clause would be the only way that it wouldn't be adultery, in which someone could remarry, in which you are allowed to remarry. It would be if your spouse was unfaithful to the marital vows sexually. Okay. The other one that people can add would be, sometimes from 1 Corinthians, there's implication if your spouse abandons you, that you would be able to be remarried. Those are kind of the only 2 acceptable ones. Mm-hmm. And here's where we can get real shocking. Doesn't even abuse, all that kind of stuff. Now, separation's different, and even in divorce, because divorce and remarriage are 2 different things. You got to remember that.
Yeah.
We always put them simultaneously. So, it certainly implies that even in the case of the first exception, if it were, and it seems to be, that one could remarry, assuming, you were sinned against in the covenant, meaning your spouse committed sexual immorality, broke the marital vows. You could, but the offending spouse would not be able to. Okay.
It is interesting.
Well, they wouldn't, right? So it's Matthew 18. So other than that, not Matthew 18, I'm sorry, it's in Matthew. So overall, we need to just understand that is remarriage, do I believe remarriage is acceptable? Yes, given that in that case. I used to be pretty firm on, I thought that was the only clause.
Mm-hmm.
I've bent a little bit in the case of desertion, because I just have bent in that case. I think that because the argument's there in 1 Corinthians that it could be the case. But certainly, I think the ideal is reconciliation.
That's good.
and that's hard to accept. That's the first goal. That's the best option. And just because God allows it doesn't mean that it's the ideal.
Yeah.
So, but here's the beauty, and I want to say this to anyone out there. God is a God of forgiveness and restoration. If you've been divorced, and He forgives you if you put your faith in Him.
Amen, dude.
And you don't have to live in shame of that. You're not a second-rate citizen. If you have remarried and it wasn't the case of sexual morality, and you just remarried in general, you honor that second marriage as though it was the only one, and you confess that to God and move on, and be confident that it's gone, and that your new marriage can honor God too.
Yes.
But the question is, can someone remarry after divorce? Simple answer: yes, in the case of marital unfaithfulness, or possibly desertion.
Yes.
So,
I like
but
the
at the end of the
idea.
day, what it boils down to is it's between you and God, and because there's not a clear-cut answer. But as far as remarriage,
Yeah.
because again, we got to remember, divorce and remarriage are not the same, even though we tend to put them together. Because sometimes people God calls someone to stay single after divorce because there's a testimony in that.
Absolutely.
So, does that answer the question?
Yeah, man, absolutely. I like that you
Great
used the
question.
word desertion because I feel like abandonment, people can treat it very subjectively.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I like that you used, because desertion it's a lot more impactful. Like, it's a lot more cutting of a word. So I like that a lot. I think it makes the idea of abandonment, like the justification of that, it makes it a lot more real than just using the word abandonment, because people have really skewed that idea, I think, and they can easily justify reasons that are not actual abandonment. So I think desertion's a very good word for it. Mr. English Major.
I just like words. Thank you. All right, moving on. You ready?
Yes.
AJ, does everyone have a spiritual gift?
Yes, everybody does have a spiritual gift.
Every Christian.
Yes. I would say
So I want to make that distinction, though. Every Christian does. Yeah, is what you're saying.
yes. No, I know it's interesting because I think it's funny, we talked about this, like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 days ago randomly, about the idea of like gifts, and how sometimes it can be hard to understand, like, like God has made everyone, no matter what, whether they are, they believe in Him or not. He's made them all, and I believe He's put gifts in them.
Okay, but we got to be careful here, because you can't call gifts spiritual gifts as defined by the Bible.
Yes.
Talents and stuff are there, but they're not the same thing as spiritual gifts.
That's a good way to put it.
Biblically.
Talents, yes. Yeah. Like he's like put that stuff there, but then once you take on the name of Christ and you put your faith in Christ, the spiritual gifts come, and that's when like you really see like.
Well, it can only come because of the Holy Spirit.
Absolutely.
So if you don't have that, then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So your answer is yeah. Yeah,
oh, absolutely.
We're equipped like that, and there's scriptural evidence of that. And 1 Corinthians 12:7, I believe it's 12:7 says, and to each has been given. Actually, I'm going to have it marked just in case.
Oh, nice.
Well, actually, Romans 12 also talks about it. Romans 12:6 says, according to the grace given us, we have different gifts. If prophecy is used according to standard faith, in service of teaching and teaching, etc. And then 1 Corinthians, I believe, 12:7. I'm opening, buy me time.
Yes, so while he's looking for that, you used a really good analogy one time that made me think like the idea between the talents and this, then like the spiritual gift after you put your faith in Christ, which is like, imagine if you like took like a gun, right, and then like someone was good with this gun, but then once you get the Holy Spirit, it's like you get to put the scope on the gun, and it makes you even better.
Okay, but again, I think we're mixing. I think what you're implying, man, is, and we need to talk about this, maybe you think that, like, okay, someone has a gift, like you think they're musical, and then when they're the Holy Spirit, it becomes better. I think, spiritual gifts are very specific things.
Okay.
They are not just your gifts. Now, your gifts may play into that, but for instance, to finish, 1 Corinthians 12:7 says, a manifestation of the Spirit is given to each person to produce what's beneficial. So a spiritual gift is always to bless the body, other people, not yourself. So the ones that are mentioned, of course, are a message of wisdom, knowledge, faith, gifts of healing, all this. And then it even talks about hospitality and all these other kinds of things. So I know what you're saying, but I want to make sure people out there aren't confusing spiritual gifts with like any talent you have.
That makes sense.
So when you become a Christian, the Holy Spirit's in you, it manifests a spiritual gift to bless the body with, because we're all a body, so we have a different gift.
I see you. I see what you're saying.
So I agree with you. I think that sometimes what's natural there can get it comes to full blooming in a way, right? You can see like maybe what it could be.
Inklings.
Yeah. Yeah. But yes, everyone has spiritual gift. I just read that. Ironically, both Romans chapter 12 and 1 Corinthians chapter 12 talk about this, that each gets a specific gift. So 12:8, Romans 12:8 and 1 Corinthians 12:7 and clearly tells us that we all have a spiritual gift.
You say it's 12:7 and 12:8?
Yeah.
Whoa, it's oddly close to each other in different books. That's so crazy.
I'm check one more time now.
That's crazy.
No, 12:6, but still weird.
Oh yeah, they're
12:6,
still very close.
According to the grace given us, we have different gifts. That's Romans 12:6.
That's so cool.
1 Corinthians 12:7 is according to the Spirit. We've each been given a gift. Yeah.
That's insane.
Anyway, great question. We rambled a lot. Yes, every Christian has a spiritual gift.
Boom. Next question. Are you married to someone if you have sex with them?
No, not in the sense of a covenant. No. However, the reason it's so serious is the Bible tells us that one, our temple, we have a temple, so we shouldn't, what are you bringing in the temple? And sex is only to be used in the context that God created it, within marriage between a man and a woman. When you have sex outside of the marriage bonds, you are creating a spiritual connection. Okay? But without the security of being in a committed relationship. And I mean by committed, like a truly, two people pursuing God together in marriage. Science backs this up. So you guys know this. When someone has sex, did you guys know the hypothalamus, I believe that's how I pronounce it. Forgive me if that's the part of your brain, releases chemicals that produce affection and trust.
That's insane.
Deep trust. So if you have those kind of connections outside of the security that comes in marriage, this is just, it creates insecurity. It creates an obsession almost, right? So no, you're not married, but you've created a bond that does and can affect you.
Man.
And it's a dangerous one outside of that context. Some people are like, oh, that's a beautiful thing. It's not. Because it's almost like having a car with no steering wheel. So you're driving down the road, something's happening, but there's no control, there's no purpose. It's destructive. It can be destructive. And it creates a bond. I don't know, it creates an unhealthy bond.
Yeah, man.
So
that's really good.
That hopefully answers the question. So it's still
absolutely.
serious. But no, marriage is a covenant and a promise before God and man, and it's deep. So, but that's why premarital sex is so serious too, because there's just that spiritual aspect. The two become one flesh, it says, right, in marriage.
That was one of the first, really, profound. It's a good word for it. That it was one of the first really profound things that I learned when I was first trying to become a Christian, was the idea, because you preached that sermon years ago, and you used you took two straws and you kind of heated them up, and then they formed together, and then you tore them apart, and it left parts of each straw on the other one, and that's and you use that to for the example of when you have sex with somebody, you're
Yes.
leaving a part of yourself with them. And
Yes.
I was man, that was really that really struck me. So it's really good, man.
Yeah, and you know that if you've been a person that did that. I mean, the mistake, not to shame yourself, don't be shamed, but the effects that has on you.
Oh yeah.
To this day, right? I did that, and it affected my life. Still does, probably.
Oh yeah.
So,
Me too, man.
and there's consequences to that stuff. So, don't do that.
Don't do it.
But everyone has, a lot of people have a past and made mistakes before they knew Christ, and sometimes even after. And
Yeah.
there's grace in that, and you can pray that God dissolves those bonds. I believe that can happen too. Anytime. So, AJ,
Yes.
here's a question for you, my friend. Why are there so many denominations, and why do they have such a hard time getting along?
So I would say the reason why there's so many denominations is because of just disagreements on both small and big issues of Christianity. So I believe somewhere along the line, there is people who were together as a group, and then someone disagreed on something, so they left and started their own charter, for lack of a better term, of Christianity. That's why you have Baptists and all these other denominations that I can't think of right now. But, you know, and it's just also, you know, the reason why. So I guess that's the first part of the question. I think it's just disagreements over the history of Christianity where people, you know, they separated. After that, why they have such a hard time getting along, I think it's just a friction between who's better, who's right. There's this sense of like, because we have a different denomination, we're not on the same team almost. I think that if we're not careful, the church with a capital C can become this weird competition, you know, who has more numbers or who, you know, who has
Getting more glory.
No, absolutely. So I think that's why we don't get along, is because then there's also envy. You know, why can't we be like
Jealousy,
them?
Yeah.
Why, you know, then there's also bitterness, you know, well, you know, they did this to me, you know.
Fault finding, all that stuff.
Yeah. You know, so I think that we've definitely, to me, it's a bit of a mess. It's kind
Pretty
of,
much
it's kind of odd.
humanness. People just focus on themselves instead of Jesus.
And then that's where we're at now. You know, I've always kind of made a joke, but I'm actually I am legitimately curious that when we're all in heaven, if Jesus is gonna be like laughing at the fact that we made all these different denominations. I feel like he's going to.
Or crying.
That's fair. Yeah. It's fair.
I don't know, man. You know, I had this weird thought the other day. Christians, I don't know. So Protestant churches, which be our church technically, you know, anything's not Catholic is considered Protestant. You know, they kind of oftentimes can seem sort of judgmental of Catholicism. And one of the things that I can say is, and certainly I have concerns. You know, I will say this in case there's any. Of course, there are Catholics that are Christians. Of course, and there's some that aren't true Christians. Just like there's some in the Methodist Church that aren't, and some in our church possibly. You know, et cetera. You know, on and on. But my point is, at least they're unified. And that's one of the things, man, that you look at. I don't know. It is odd. And sometimes it's just community to community. So I think the community that we're in can sometimes, and I've heard this from people outside this community. We met with a guy who is from a ministry, an organization outside this community, and he came in and said, hey, this community is strange because the churches do not want to work together. And they've had success in other communities.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. It is interesting what we choose to fight and argue about.
Agreed. I don't know.
Anyway, great question, though.
Absolutely.
And I do think it grieves God because we're supposed to have unity. Alrighty. I think you're up, buddy.
Yes.
There's number 3 there.
I was about to skip number 3.
I think it's because... Oh, no. I thought the same thing. I thought you were ahead one, too.
Weird. What are examples of good boundaries for family members that hurt you over and over?
Yeah, this is a tough one. So, without knowing the specifics of your situation, I will say this. Boundaries are essentially just places, kind of things that you say that I'm not going to accept in my life. It doesn't mean that you're cutting them out of your life. It doesn't mean you don't love them. It's just saying, I'm going to have relationship. We can have relationship, but it's within the context of these walls or boundaries.
That's right. Drawing the line. Man.
Yeah. So, and they don't have to be as like, sometimes people are like, you either do this or that. It doesn't have to even be that blatant. It could be something as simple as, hey, when this happens, me and my family aren't going to be a part of it.
Yep.
It's not about shaming. Hey, if, you know, I'm not going to have this conversation if you're going to keep going here. I'm going to end this conversation. Now, I love you and I'm willing to talk another time or about something else, but I'm not having this conversation.
It's good.
And then it can go really extreme depending on the situation to where like, hey, me and my family are not going to be a part of what you guys are doing until there's some sort of recognition of the wrongness here. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because the goal is, of course, to have peace and restoration. But sometimes, as much as you try, you can't get the other side to see that.
Yeah, man.
And a lot of times those situations, you'll get manipulated through guilt or shame as though you're the one, because you're putting up boundaries, all of a sudden you're the one that's pushing them away. You're the one that's being divisive. And it's like, no, I'm just saying that I'm not, you know, it would be like, you know, good Lord, I got to quit. It'd be like me slapping you every day. You might love me, but you're like, hey, man, I'm not going to come into that room
When I
because
know
you
you're gonna
slap
slap
me
me.
whenever we're in that room.
Yeah.
If we're gonna meet here, or we're gonna hang out
Yeah,
here.
because you don't slap me here.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, hope that helps.
Jinx, you owe me Coke.
Why would you say that to a guy with OCD?
Because you're going to go get me a Coke now? I don't know.
I'm not supposed to be allowed to talk.
Wait, what?
Pretty sure you can't talk till you get the person a Coke. That's the actual how the game actually
I've never
goes.
heard that in my life.
Yeah. So I will now be silent for the rest of the show.
No. Fun turn. Need you to go buy a Coke immediately.
He can't. It has to be me. Classic.
Oh, that's hilarious. Did not know that part of the game.
What is ministry?
So, ministry, looking for, just a basic definition. To me, it's spreading of the gospel. So, whether that's the, examples that I put here is like your life. Your life is a ministry, and how you, convey the gospel to people, how you live the gospel. You can even look at it in the sense of like a nonprofit organization, a church, or like a mission. Those are all examples of ministry. It's a purpose. There's a purpose, a mission that you are working towards. And usually, especially in Christianity, that is the center of that is the gospel. So,
Yeah, it's just comes from a word actually. The word means to serve, and actually, you ready for something crazy? The specific word is like to serve like a slave.
wow.
That's ministry, a lot of times you said it, it's become like a job in our church. Like typically, pastors, they're in ministry, or when you say in ministry, you mean like that's your full-time job. But every Christian's called to be in ministry to serve. And like I love what you said, AJ. A huge part of that is we need to spiritually serve people by telling them the gospel. Mm-hmm. But also we are to just love people and be there emotionally and spiritually, physically, and take care of needs and just tangibly, I guess, physically love people too.
That's
serve
good.
people. So looking for ways, because that's what Jesus did.
That's part of ministry.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's what he did.
Yes.
So great question. Where are we at? Where are we at here, Fun Turn, time wise?
One moment.
Okay, he's gonna buy some time.
Around 45. 45.
Oh, good. Well, I got one for you here, AJ, to make them even.
Make them even.
How do you keep going and not get? Wait, that's yours.
I've done the same thing.
So embarrassing.
Wait, am I? Oh, I am up. That's right. Now I
You
get to
answer
click.
next, yeah.
There we go. Okay.
We're both talking about it. It's just who reads them.
Uh-huh. How do you keep going and not give up on your faith when things get hard?
Me personally, Jesus. I think about Jesus and what he did, and that sounds corny, but I promise you that's the truth. For me, I'm always like, when I get really discouraged and I want to give up, I go, well, I think he didn't give up. And when I'm hated, I go, man, he was hated and still loved. And then I think I usually have a verse that I cling to. Several. Everybody should. I call them anchor verses, things that hold you to the truth. But for instance, one is, I just talked about this in Romans, is for God works out all things for the good of those who believe according to his purposes. This promise he's going to work it out. And then I also, sometimes what I do is try to remember what he has already done in my life, and that faith, and remembering that faith is walking when it's hard. Otherwise, it wouldn't require faith. So that's what I do personally. I don't know if you have a different answer.
No, man, mine's very similar, and it's always convicting to me when you mention that, how faith is like we claim faith when things are hard, because I think a lot of the time I can buy into the lie, and I think a lot of other people can buy into the lie that when we're we have our faith, it's just when everything's going right, because then we're like, hey, praise God. But a lot of that faith comes when things are not going right, and that's really good, man. I like that. And I would say one thing that I try to keep in mind when I'm going through, if things are getting hard, is like, what I try to, I'm not good at it, don't get me wrong, but I try to think of the good. I try to think of what is good in my life. What are the things I can be thankful for? Because, that gets you out of that negative mindset of only focusing on all the bad. When, if you're really honest, like the good is almost always outweighing the bad.
That's really good, man. Yeah, I like that. All right, next question. How did you come to know Jesus? What was the thing that finally got you to accept Jesus?
This church.
He's very passionate.
I lived to try to keep it as short as possible. I didn't really grow up in church at all. Before I came to the Remnant in like late 2016, I didn't really I probably went to church almost like less than 10 times in my life. It was probably like 10 to 12 times. That was it. And it was on like the big like Easter or whatnot. And like it would be so random. There'd be several years in between, or so. So I came to know Jesus when I started coming here late 2016. And I was here for probably, I don't know, a year and a half. I don't know, before I actually fully got it. And by I guess when I say fully got it, like I was like, okay, like I know something has to change here. Like my life has to change, because like everything had changed in my heart. So, I accepted Christ. Probably like a year and a half in, to coming here, and I just haven't stopped coming, man. And this is my home. This is life for me. So, what I guess what gave me that aha moment? It was a sermon that Todd preached, and all the previous ones he had preached, there was just little, like, it was a subtle culmination. That one moment was a subtle culmination of all these different things that were adding up and they were starting to make more and more sense as time went on, and they were starting to really affect me. I couldn't keep doing the things I was doing. I couldn't keep living the way, or even just the way I was thinking. I couldn't deny that there was something else there that was like poking at me, and it was God. But the moment that it finally all, like, the culmination was when he was preaching a sermon, and he talked about eternity, and he was like, life is this big compared to eternity, and I don't know why, but it just really like clicked and hit me, and I was like, whew.
That was an illustration from Francis Chan originally. Yeah.
And it made me emotional, and I was like, man, like, life is that small compared to what we like. It was like the way I looked at it, I remember, was like, I have that little of time to make this choice for for eternity. And I was like, I don't want to risk that. I mean, I was like, I can't. Like, it would be dumb for me to think that I can just live this life how I want to now, because I'm seeing the truth, and like I can't deny it anymore. Because the way I was living was not right. So, to try to keep it short, that was the big aha moment for me. Yeah. So
It's awesome, man. It's awesome. I've told mine before, so I'm not gonna tell it again. People have heard it. It's good. Yeah, man, that's a cool story for you, though, man. Like, especially when you get to talk to you about how God had been dropping clues through your whole life.
Oh, man.
Till that moment.
So evident.
Pretty powerful.
I don't think about it enough.
Yeah, I feel you. Huh.
Do you have moments like that in your life where it was like God was dropping small moments and hints to you?
Yeah, I think so. I had an uncle that, weirdly, I don't know if he's actually even was a real believer, but if he wasn't, he was one of the ones where it dropped on soil and then didn't really accept. So he was kind of at least excited about the concept, and had me watch this Jesus film movie when I was in like 7th or 8th grade. And I remember being pretty intrigued by Jesus then. I've always had, a positive view of him. But anyway, you know what, guys? I think we're going to call it. We've got a lot of stuff to do, but we've given people a lot of long shows. We might as well give them a short one.
It's fair, man.
So, you got anything else you want to say? Sorry to be so abrupt, guys. I just realized we've been going a while, and we've been making you listen to long ones.
No, I think there's nothing wrong with it, man. I just love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, listening every week. You guys matter. You guys make an impact on this ministry, this podcast, this video. You do when you share it, like it, do all those things. Like, it does reach people, and I guess we haven't shared in a while for those who are watching or listening, but this podcast has reached people in like 20 countries. It's pretty incredible, that the truth is being spread that far and wide from just a small Indiana town,
Yeah.
It's I think we're getting closer to 40 states. We're going for the big 50. It's pretty nuts. So you guys matter. You guys are a big part of that. Your shares are the reason how that spreads. So keep doing it, keep listening, keep asking these questions, because, Todd has said it so many times in the past, but a lot of the time you're probably speaking for others who don't want to say it or don't want to ask. So keep it coming. You guys are awesome. And I love you so much.
Cool. Fun turn, anything? All right. Hey, we'll note we got a link asking us to respond to a documentary show. And I say short, it was about an hour long. We did watch it. So if you're the person asking, very interesting. And we're going to talk about that on another show here because it's going to need more time probably. But just want to give a shout out to that person who shared it. We did watch the whole thing.
It's powerful.
And just gets you asking questions. So I just want to let them know, hey, we love you guys. Appreciate you. Please like, share, all that beautiful stuff. Hey, consider donating to the show. It goes directly back into this ministry. You can do that. It's tax deductible. You can do that anytime at www.theremnant.life/give. Other than that, we hope you have a great day, and God bless you.